Hi, my name is Kimberly Welsh, and this presentation is titled The Relationship Between the Dark Triad and Incentive Motivation. The Dark Triad refers to three personality categories of Machiavellism, Narcissism, and Psychopathy. These antisocial personality categories and the behaviors that arise from them can have repeated detrimental and destructive effects on the wider community and society as a whole. Psychopathic criminals in particular commit a disproportionate amount of crime. Motivation will be investigating any relationship between the dark triad and specific mechanisms and traits. So we'll look at two motivational systems of behavioral inhibition and activation, which correspond to the motivation to avoid aversive outcomes and the motivation to approach goal-oriented outcomes. So we'll also look at sensitivity to reward and punishment, measuring the motivational impact of anxiety and impulsivity. Empirical data from studies on criminal populations provides evidence that psychopathic individuals show a variety of neurocognitive abnormalities, such as impairments and dysfunction in the amygdala and the orbitofrontal cortex. This data suggests that corticostriatal circuit dysregulation drives maladaptive decision-making, supporting the notion that reward system dysfunction comprises an important neurobiological risk factor. Further studies have demonstrated some implications of these neurological impairments, displaying that criminal offenders with low anterior cingulate activity are rearrested at approximately double the rate of offenders with high activity in this region, indicating a real-world risk measure of repeat offenders. And in non-criminal populations, studies have shown that individuals with high psychopathy traits compared to those with low psychopathy traits performed significantly worse on the Iowa gambling task, a task sensitive to orbitofrontal cortex dysfunction, indicating a real-world risk measure of problem gambling. This research project aims to investigate the relationship between the dark triad and incentive motivation. The results of this investigation will provide information on whether the identified impairments of the dark triad impact the effects of reward magnitude and probability on decision-making, risk-taking, and motivation to attain goals. This study will be a cross-sectional self-report and experimental design. The dark triad will be measured using self-report questionnaires, specifically the NPI-16 for narcissism containing 16 items, the MAC-4 for Machiavellism containing 20 items, and the SRP short form for psychopathy containing 28 items. These measures have been chosen specifically for their brevity, however have displayed notable face, internal, discriminated, and predictive validity, and can serve as alternative measures of their longer inventories. The BISBAS is a 24 self-report questionnaire designed to measure the behavioral inhibition system and the behavioral activation system. The SPSRQ is a 48-item questionnaire divided into two subscales: sensitivity to reward and sensitivity to punishment, corresponding to levels of anxiety and impulsivity. These measures will be analyzed using trait correlation and moderation analysis, with correlations for all clinical and behavioral measures. The experimental task will be the EEFRT, a decision-making task that assesses willingness to extend physical effort for rewards. In each trial, participants decide between an easy task for a minor reward and a hard task for a larger reward. In each trial, the probability of reward delivery applies equally to both the low reward choice and the high reward choice, enabling the effect of reward magnitude to be examined separately from reward probability. The likelihood of choosing the hard task versus the easy task will be modeled using generalized estimating equations. This project will be funded and directed by Monash University. Recruitment will be an online sample collected by utilizing Monash Uni resources such as the Qualtrics platform and advertising on social media platforms such as Facebook. The timeline is fixed, operating within the timeframes of the Monash teaching periods, with the final report due by 8th of October 2019. Most research on psychopaths has been conducted in hospitals or prisons. This project will focus on the general population and persons displaying predominantly subclinical levels of the dark triad aspects. Therefore, the results from this project will be more applicable to a wider range of workplaces and relationships and inform a wider range of regulatory and preventative measures. This project investigates a novel area of executive functioning, examining the specific areas of motivation, risk-taking, and reward sensitivity. These areas are related to goal-directed behaviors and are particularly relevant to industry and workplaces, for informing strategies for staff performance enhancement as well as policies for regulating risk. The results from this project will ultimately increase the current scientific knowledge base around the neuropsychology and mechanisms of the dark triad, refine the neural deficit theories, and inform on specific behaviors exhibited by the dark triad. These are some references for further information, and thank you for listening.